Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Talk with the Elementals. Today is more of an impromptu episode. We've come back to Goldwater Lake and Parks and Recreation area. And I believe today, it being an impromptu episode, I did not know who I was going to come across. But I believe it's a form of fae that qualifies as an elemental. So, I see beings on these trees that are crawling up and down them. Crawling and flying, excuse me. They look very similar to the Kajal. They look like a wasp. Are you a bug? You're a bug? Oh, yeah, with the little... they look kind of like a wasp V.
Kind of like with that stoma that sticks out?
Yeah, with the... Yeah. Or like a hummingbird. Like a hummingbird just flew past here, kind of has that little look to it. But they're bugs.
Okay.
And, okay, let's see. Here. Sorry, there's a lot of bugs out here that are itchy, so... and there are people in the background, so... Sorry about that. Okay. And if anybody comes through here, because this is a trail we've planted ourselves on, you'll more than likely see somebody walk past here if they come up here. So. It's a little hard to get a stance here. There we go. Okay, you can come anytime. If you are, if our high is good. We're having to get used to it. We are a type of, you would say, gardener, or someone who prunes or preens the environment. We do exist in these trees and in the surrounding environment. You would call us rangers, maybe? Very much like your park rangers or parks and recreation people would be considered. We were assigned the task of watching human nature collided environments to see how humans interacted in a recreational way with nature and on borderline cities. So you will see us in park environments such as this, though we are nature beings. In the past, we were on the outskirts of old ancient capitals and cities like ancient Rome and various other cities such as your London and your Cairo before any pollution or disasters befell. But we have returned to do the same job we are assigned to do by helping humans cohabitate with their modern day, as you would say, in nature. There is a way to blend both of these. Even though you are accustomed to your urban environments, you create park areas and you would say false lakes, but you are indeed creating them as nature would have in a more lengthy way. You create these things because you once helped create these things for this world, bringing the continental masses that some of you did and some of these other races did, bringing in aspects of their own nature that would work together in a combined way. Here, even after the harvesters befell this world, the balance still exists. This is why they wish to take it from you. This is why they wish governments to remove people from ancestral lands and nature areas, because they don't want anyone being empowered by nature. We, as we have said, are rangers or caretakers and ensure that there are openings that humans can come reground earth or meditate or just have fun, like the people in the background, We assure quiet spots and loud spots, if you wish. Not in the ways you would expect. I know we have not introduced our grouping, but since our name is not pronounceable by your tongue, you can call us, I know this is more of a, you would say, cheesy name, but Nature Ranger? Granted, other races would make fun of this, but this is the closest name description to our species. So far, there are various other races out there that share animals in your nature, such as rats, otters, beavers, various bird species and the like, turtles, other lizard types, and the like. There are a multitude of species that you do not yet know of. Or you may have seen interesting shows, read articles on, or even spotted something out of the corner of your eye, or spotted one of them in more of a transmutated form or observance form and did not realize it. Your Sasquatch or nature enforcer groups, such as them, are not the only ones that can hide in an animal form, but they do it the most. I know this is a publicly run area, so I will entertain questions now.
Well, thank you. It's really nice to meet you. You did just bring up the Sasquatch. I actually have a lot of questions, but I'm just going to start with this one. So, as we've said on some other things, and the Sasquatch has talked about, they actually came through this area of, I don't know if it was specifically this area, you can clarify, areas of Prescott, and they're working on areas, let's say, all the way Cottonwood to Sedona. They're clearing out some things that they don't feel is for the highest good to allow for, I'm assuming, like a renaissance, a kind of a nature, elemental, a human renaissance to change the energies of the area. I'm curious whether or not, since you were part ranger to certain places, were you a participant of that or in agreement of that, or what was your feelings towards what's kind of going on in this area?
Yes, we were in agreement to this because we were in agreement with a new neutral zone being placed up where a variety of different species could come and live. This does not mean that the species that were here cannot come back, but certain rules have to be enacted first. This was a logical decision on the part of the Sasquatch or forest people doing this. They were elected the enforcers because not only of their enormous bulk and strength, but their quantum nature as well, that they could most easily evade draconian presences, and they were more in touch with yourselves, so they were the logical choice to continue this fight. However, after it is a neutral zone, you will see a drastic difference in the energies. The reason they wanted also a clean slate was to get other species away from here that were in possible danger from draconian presences. Now, you may seem to think that it is unfair because they did not evacuate humans from the area. This would have only fed the beast, as you would say. Revealing themselves would have caused a fear panic and not the desired evacuation effect. So they chose to remain silent with humans, and also various other galactic groups and treaties would have frowned upon such a move.
And then, but as far as even humans or even others, as the energies change, the energies tend to affect people that they'll either want to stay or feel compelled to leave anyway, correct?
Yes, indeed. If it is an energy change and the person is sensitive enough to it, or just feels like they don't belong in an area anymore, they will feel compelled to leave the area.
Okay.
Now, these energies changing, they may change their mind once the new barrier is erected.
Okay, so I want to, before asking some specific questions about your group, just to continue on with this conversation. This is more of actually a personal question from me. So it's weighed heavy on my mind, wandering and pondering since the Sasquatch explained this all to us, wondering who was left, because we knew that some of the elemental nature type, some of the races, they were asked to leave. So, and we felt like it was so quiet. We were like, is anybody left? Well, Chris doesn't know this because I don't tell him everything. But since you came on, I'm like, I'll ask. I actually have been starting to see in my mind's eyes, looking at different things, all kinds of beings that are unfamiliar to me. And I didn't know if they were nature-based. So I'm just curious, have I been sensing, or will you tell me that there actually are a lot of elemental beings around, different races that maybe, I don't know, we didn't see before, but now we're starting to see? Or can you just kind of give an idea of the different groups that are around?
Yes, indeed. There are many groups still present that are out of your visual perception range until this moment. See, when the clutter was moved away, not that those groups were any less or greater of importance to this other. When the clutter was cleared away, other beings that occupied different densities or frequencies made themselves known to you, even if unintentionally or in observance of you. Yes, there are many, many different layers of races here, some of which you would call different fairy species, or different nymph or nature species, you would say, all of which are elemental, but other races have passed through here on their way to communicate, or on their way through to a different area of your continent.
And I will say, just like the other race did, because some of the things that I were seeing, it just made me go, by just looking at you, looking at your look. I don't know if you stood before me, whether or not you would kind of be a little scary looking, because it looked like some may have had some sort of horns, or... So I think it's if I did see things and started to see glimpses of what was around, what's very interesting again is you've got a multitude of races with a multitude of looks, and some of those looks maybe initially to somebody could cause a little bit of fear or wanting to distance themselves, because you really do have a vast variety of looks.
Indeed. Some are indeed scarier looking to humans. There are a variety of elementals that do have more, you would say, grotesque or elaborate looks to them, less like yourselves. Your faces are more simplified and smooth, while some of them may have more of a bark texturing, blade-like texturings like you've encountered before in the state of Washington, and there are ones with horns. Now, ones with horns that have been showing up around you aren't necessarily nice.
Okay.
They are more of the demon variety or reptilian variety, and there is one variety of Draco reptilian of which you are unaware, but is most familiar to your mythologies. The devil-looking variety with the horns and the pointed chins, very much like your Satan figure. These are ones that plague you at the moment through their red portal and their, you would say, eyes. In this, I can speak no more of them until they are removed from the area. But needless to say, they fit the devil persona that you see on your cartoons and in some of your ads and in some of your ancient literature.
And I just for the people listening, I can definitely attest, and so can Chris, that it is a work in progress to change an area. I think everybody, again, our one friend loves to use the term, and it's so true, instant pudding. It doesn't work instant pudding. And so, we see things and we are still a bit, let's just use the word harassed, I guess. The harassment doesn't cause as big as of an impact that it used to us. I think that could also be our personal growth. But it's interesting that you said the red portal, because that actually happened the other night. So I appreciate that, because I really wanted to try and get a better idea of what was going on in general. So it's still a great mix, and it's still a work in progress. And at least some other elemental types are either intentionally or accidentally letting themselves be seen, because there really is a huge variety from what I could tell. So let's talk about your group specifically, because now you're talking about being a ranger. So I'm curious about, did you come from anywhere from here? Because it would seem to me that when a planet, and this our planet, who is Sophia, when the planets are made, when life is going to come on, when people are going to come on in their forms for experiences, when nature comes in, I would imagine that some of that is actually just bam, this is their home, this is where they were brought in, versus we know we dealt with a lot of races that are actually from somewhere else and have come in. So I'm curious about you guys. Is this your home? Is this where you've been, or did you guys come from someplace else?
We are actually from this area of your space. We did occupy both Earth and Maldek back in the day, but you can say Earth is indeed our home, and a variety of our cousins' homes. Some of them are not so forgiving to humans that destroy nature, very much like some other species out there I will not name currently. They do not like when nature is destroyed, but they also understand humans have to remember who they were and who they are in order not to destroy aspects of nature. This does not mean that it is liked when this takes place, but we as a group are more passive versus some of our more fear-toting cousins.
Okay. So what about aging? So from your perspective, how long have you personally been around? What have you personally witnessed? And is your lifespan extremely long because of who you are and what you're doing?
Not exactly extremely long like humans have the potential of living. We are the descendants of the original batch that was here on Earth, very much like some of you. We live approximately 300 of your years. And then what happens to our bodies is, like yours, wither and decay, but this can fuel the environment around. You see, there are particles of energy that come out of the cells and permeate nature, actually repairing the fabric of nature and also being absorbed by trees and other plants, very much like photosynthesis.
And so you are a soul within an elemental body, just like I say, we're a soul now encased in this human skin suit for a while. That's a true statement, isn't it?
Yes, a lot of beings that you encounter out there are souls within a skin suit or flesh form. Most of the species you will encounter in the decades to come will be as such, because you are like this. Now there are others that are pure energy, and some that just appear to be energy because they are surrounded in a plasmatic form that is still a state of matter by your sciences. So most of the species you run into out there are a state of matter to some degree.
So do you, once you have a 300-year lifespan, do you choose to go back in and have other experiences still within the nature side of the house, working in this area? I'm just curious how you guys choose to grow and expand.
Yes, we do choose to come back and continue our work. Granted, we remember a little more from incarnation to incarnation. We enact the true incarnation cycle, not the false one that your kind is sucked into periodically. And I say periodically because it's not near as strong as it was in your Middle Ages. Now, in our history, we do incarnate, and we can be born as one in a batch, very much like you would say eggs. We are born as eggs, very much how fish eggs or frog eggs look in a cluster, or bee larvae sometimes. This can give rise to our energies repermeating the tree environments and then repermeating and kick-starting the egg process, or you would say fertilization. So the life to death cycle is intricately intertwined.
So that's very interesting. And I was just hearing you said the tree, so I'm thinking the Dryadic consciousness. So you guys are entwined with that consciousness as well, or did I misunderstand?
Yes, you heard correctly. We are intertwined with the Dryadic consciousness, very much like other species work with each other to, say, fertilize a flower, say a hummingbird fertilizing a flower, and that flower providing food for the bird. This is very much the same relationship we have with the Dryads.
Okay, that's cool. So tell us a little bit about your life. What is your culture like? Are you do you have colonies or gatherings of like beings together? Are you out there loaning it? Tell us a little bit about that, or family, or anything like that.
We live in family clusters, but we can go off alone to scout out other potential sites that the Dryads lead us to in areas that might not have been suitable for us before. But now, because of the energy changes, we can create colonies. We do create colonies, but we also exist, as you would say, interfrequency-ish, to where we can pass into your frequency and back again. However, around you now are a colony of our people, but you would not realize it because the frequency difference is so vastly different between our kind and yours. You would never suspect that you are surrounded by many eyes and many ears in the forest, other than the beings that I aforementioned. Our species can also hear and see everything your kind has been doing over the centuries this way. Like I said, we have been existing near colony settlements to be able to bring nature and city, urban environments back together again. Our family units usually are, we are not similar to your own per se, but we do have homes in the trees that span in a, you would say, geometric shape sense, very much like bees make a honeycomb. We have the same thing wrapped almost like cellophane around multiple trees. And we do have clusters within that comb of our family units. We live with several other family units, but can branch off to other areas and create other, you would say, hexagonal structures.
That's interesting. So we would literally, if we were in your frequency, we would think of them as hexagonal tree houses, I guess. We would say, wow, look at that tree house way up there.
Yes.
Is there a purpose why you've chose to live up in the trees rather than down on the ground?
Very simple. We can see more from up in the trees than down on your ground. We have more of a bird's eye view up there, and it also long ago was a strategic move because the enemy liked to use high mountain tops, so we decided to try to one-up them and use high tree tops to not only keep an eye on them, but keep an eye on your kind as well.
So with all the turmoil since you were here, your lineage has been here since the beginning. This is your home. We often talk about races, some that are susceptible to some of the darkness and those energies, some that are not. How has your elemental race fared with the dynamics of what has occurred here?
We are mostly immune to the harvester influences, though, however, some of our genetic material has been stolen by them to create more servant-like species over the centuries. As I have also stated, the more agitated cousins came from this batch, that they are the same as us, but with more of an ill temper. They created them to, as you would say, turn people off from being in nature, because if there was something scary that would keep people away from nature, all the better, and keep them confined in cities where they could keep a better eye on their flock, so to speak. However, our natural strain species is immune to most of your poisons, most of your radio waves, and almost all of the harvester's influences.
Well, it is very interesting you say that, because I must admit that, you can go out in nature, and I would imagine maybe not too far away from here. You would potentially be out there, maybe a little bit denser forest situation, where you maybe would feel the sense of, I need to worry about the wildlife, I need to worry about this or that. It is interesting because I will tell you around here, and we walked up from the lake, we wanted to get further out, that I don't have that sense. It's kind of an interesting thing. I really do have a sense of protection, in a sense that this is supposed to be really a place where people can go, take their hat off, really sit down and feel relaxed. And I say that because it's not like that in all places you go to. You always feel like you may be looking over your shoulder, you're a little bit unsure. But not here. So I am curious if that is one of your functions, because you're trying to promote the integration of people getting back into nature.
Yes, indeed. We actually occupy all of your national parks and park areas such as this, and we are indeed trying to promote the union between the two, the human urban world and the nature world. Yes.
Yeah, so I only say that to you guys because, you really may want to explore it. There are different feelings for different areas you go into. And, I don't know really how to explain it because it really is a feeling. But since you were saying, obviously, that you're sponsoring this intentionally, I kind of can sense that. There's a safety factor here that may not be other places. So I just wanted to mention that because you can definitely feel it. So your mission, what you come in here to do, it doesn't sound like there's been much of a deviation. You may have had to deviate where you go, but the mission itself, has it had to deviate much since you've been here?
It has never had to deviate as in intention since we've been here, but we've had to, say, deviate in location several times to adapt to enemy incursions and to adapt to human encroaching in some instances. Not all, even though we are immune to a lot of the chemical influences and pollution influences, still we have to keep a certain distance but closeness to human habitation, but we've had to shift slightly over the years in that respect.
So I want your perspective on how you think things are in general going and moving. I think for Chris and I, we've tried to bring our understanding that, again, it's not going to be instant pudding. This is a transition. And another perspective that we'll probably talk about a little bit more is that this isn't the beginning of the transition. The beginning of the transition actually started hundreds of years ago. It was way worse. And so it's hard for people to have perspective of how long the transitioning occur. I do believe that there was a moment, and it's around 2012, in these last few years, where there were, the only way I know how to say it, were some important anchoring needs to occur. I don't know any other way to say it. But I want your perspective on how you feel things are progressing within the humans, within the other groups that also are now calling this home, as far as the energies and moving forward and going towards where we all want to go.
The energies are like a great tide carrying in and carrying out, not that which does not serve, but also brings in things that do. Most of this tide, if you will be surprised by this answer, is being created by your people. Wanting change, wanting a difference of what you see day to day, wanting it so badly that you transform the environment around you. You can even transform the cosmos around you. Is there a change going on in space right now with your sun and with your planets? Yes. But there is a flip side to this that you had not counted on. Granted, is the Earth changing? Yes. And is there ebbs and flows coming out of the nexus point? Yes. But your kind is creating the changes that you see around you. Not just primarily, but mostly creating the changes around you. Now, does this change us a bit? Yes, it changes our position a bit, because your kind will begin to see us sometimes before you are ready to know us. because of these changes, very much like your Mandela effect was intended to be silent in the background by your Venusian colonies and various other Pleiadian races and Agarthan races. But since you were evolving so quickly in that respect, in the seeing respect and in the feeling respect, you are noticing that effect. This goes for us and various other species as well. It may seem like a blur out of the corner of your eye, but there are many species around you that humanity has not seen in hundreds of thousands of your years.
Okay. So that is really very interesting, because I know it's hard. I think we had spoken about this maybe a little over a week ago. I think we date stamped it because we wanted people to know the energies. Some of the energies that are coming through, are actually leaving people in a little bit of a depression. So I'm always looking for some sort of something to help people understand we're not moving backwards. We're not moving backwards at all. So any comment or any words of encouragement from you?
You are becoming more sovereign as a people. Yes, there are races that experiment on you all of the time, more than the one that you all have heard about. There are many, many species that are now backing off from this respect, or being made to back off from this respect, because humanity has asserted its sovereignty to such a degree that these energies are changing around them. This also goes for the ones you call the Greys or harvesters. They are dying off, so more of these changes or more of these energies are being let up and given back to you that were stolen. Say a Grey, for instance, was holding soul shards of many individuals, and that Grey dies. This automatically erupts back into the ether and gets returned to the soul in which it was stolen from. This is where you get some of your weaknesses and strengths from, the ebb and flow of death and rebirth.
Okay, that's actually extremely interesting. So I appreciate this conversation. I think, again, we always seem to cover a lot, and I'm sure we'll talk again. So any last words that you would like to tell, as any introductory statements or understandings, anything you have, please do so.
Know that when you go into these park areas, there are eyes and ears upon you the moment you walk in, not in a spooky or scary fashion, except in some other species that will remain unnamed that are out there in the wilderness. We wish to build that bridge, as I've said, from urban to environment such as this, nature, bringing back the knowledge that you already possess. You cut off the oppression. Your true self starts to come back. You reassert that true self. Oppression will never touch you again. This is what my people, you would call us nature rangers, even though that is not our actual name. And some are more than likely laughing at this particular name. But I digress. This is a blessing from my species to yours. May your species remember who you are, and remember that in this current moment in time, that your sovereignty matters more than you think. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been a wonderful chat.
Oh, I was actually facing. Okay.
No, he turned to speak to me. That was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there are a lot of them out here. You can see like almost like a webbing that's in the hexagonal way. It's I don't want to say cellophane. That's the wrong word. More like a bark, like a almost like a resin bark looking type of thing, like you'd see resin that bees secrete, like when they vomit up honey or something like that. It kind of has this bark resiny look to it. And he says it's a correction. It's actually a secretion from their sweat glands. Okay, but it's not vomit. Okay, but bees can vomit all they want, he says. But and people eat this. So okay, so they're actually laughing at that. They're making fun of the bee consciousness. So I think they're related to them in some degree too, but somewhat. Okay. Except they're he says except they're less intelligent. Okay.
They're less intelligent.
Okay. But yeah, they're all over the place up in here. So yeah, there's many other races watching you and feeling you out that you don't know of. The Sasquatch scan people all the time when they enter the forest areas. These other races do as well.
I think theirs is more subtle because usually the Sasquatch, I think
It's
people
a
are
blanket,
you
like,
really feel
yeah.
it coming, and it. I don't know about you. For most of the time, for me, it starts with a little heavy, but then a real pressure coming in.
Yeah,
this
like a
way.
helmet. Yeah.
I didn't actually feel anything like that coming
No, this
in
was more of
here.
a gentle, like, nudge. The Sasquatch have this, like, when it comes over you, like a helmet and, like, down your back and everything when you enter their domain. These guys, it's more of like, am I being watched? It's kind of like that. They said because they do not wish to impose like the Sasquatch do. They're
the enforcers.
the enforcers, and I could see them doing the dun 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 type of thing. So yeah, they're actually quite funny. Anything else you guys want to say at all? No? Okay. So this has actually been a very interesting episode of a talk with the elementals. Thank you everybody for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.